Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. We are here with the next chapter. We are finally back after that break. It always does feel a little bit long, but we are finally here and we are finally back in present day Elbaph. We get to see what the Straw Hats and the Giants are going to do in order to put a stop to Eam and the Holy Knight, who are currently trying to kidnap the group of children that they want to use as hostages. So, looking forward to getting into this chapter. So, without further ado, chapter 1172, The Elbaph I Admire. And the cover story request is Bon Clay doing their makeup, and in the background is a bunch of swans also getting ready and getting dressed and putting their makeup on. So it's a lovely little cover story to see. Nice to see Bon Clay again after so long. Still alive, by the way. But nevertheless, we have Elbaph to discuss. So last we had left off, it was the end of the flashback. It was probably, I think, the longest flashback we have had in One Piece, considerably one of the longest anyway. And it really focused on Loki's decision to honour his father, but in his own way. He wasn't going to out the truth. He wanted him, he told everyone he should take the blame. It's fine if he takes the blame, but no one is to speak of word of what actually happened in the castle. It wasn't the right time, and Loki's decision there was he was going to take the soldiers who had been witness to it. They were going to go out to sea and deal with it in Loki's own way. Bit strong-headed, trying to use force in his own manner, as he said, but it was his decision to make, and it was what he wanted to do. He didn't feel like it was right to take over being king of Elbaph and try and live up to his father's dreams and wishes, because they were just very different people. So that was decided amongst everyone there, and we got a moment with Eam and the Gorosei, and they had decided that Elbaph would never have worked out anyway. They were never going to be compatible with the world government because Elbaph is of the D clan. So they were very adamant now going forward that Elbaph is now never going to join the world government, and subsequently we've seen what's happened. So back in present day, at the end of the chapter, Hyrule made his decision. He accepted Loki's story. He wanted forgiveness. He couldn't forgive all his actions, he said, but he at least could do this. And he freed Loki from his chains. Finally, Loki could use his full powers and capabilities. Luffy was absolutely ecstatic at this. A Draugr, a giant skeleton, fell into the realm of the dead, and it was decided that everyone would go up in the gondola, up back to the Sun Realm we need to get back up ASAP. It's probably going to be bad, and these are like our pretty much prime fighters down here. We've got to get up there. So as they are going to the gondola, Loki says he will go and deal with the Draugr, and he will fly up when he's done. So Loki indicating the ability of flight here. Very sort of hidden detail that probably is alluding to the devil fruit he is in possession of now, because we still don't know what exactly he's eaten. However, he does have his trusty companion Ragnar now here in the hammer, and they agree to go and deal with the Draugr. But somebody else obviously tags along for the ride, and Luffy, his only reasoning is he just wants to see Loki fight. He's like, Loki doesn't even register him being there, and he realises, he's like, oh, I'm just tagging along to see you fight, by the way, like, just don't mind me. So he annihilates this giant zombie by freezing it instantly with this like Niflheim attack. Completely freezes it, and Luffy is shocked by the power of Loki here, like really going for it. So, where this chapter picks up is immediately on the gondola. This is Gabon showing battle experience now. He's been up against dudes like this. He's been in probably countless fights over the years. They are in this strategy meeting. He's like, right, we're locked in now. Here's what we know. There are 3 foes up there. There are 3 people we are contending with right now. And their objective is now clear. They are planning to kidnap the 10 children that they have and use them as living shields, to use them as leverage and hostages so that they can get the warriors of Elbaph to become their battle thrall, to become slaves, to just follow Eames' sort of orders and follow what the world government want. So they've realised now that that is the leverage that they are going for, and that's their aim here. And if they get the children, the 10 kids that they've got walking currently, all the way over to the West Village Harbour, aboard the ship and leave, we've lost basically. Like, the game's over. So they were talking, and in the conversation, Harun's like, wow, 3 humans have done this. Like, to think that not even all the giant warrior pirates, even you, Yarson, like, to think that none of you were able to stop. And he's like, look, yeah, I've got no excuse here. Like, they were really planned, and they really have got like some scary abilities. And Sanji's like, right, well, let's size them up then, let's go over it. Like, how are 3 people our size able to maneuver in this way? How are they moving the kids that are giants in the first place? And he's like, right, well, one of the 3 is a woman, and she has this strange arrow ability that the children are unable to resist the flow of the arrow. They just have to follow that direction. So they keep marching on. They're heading to the West Village. They're heading for that ship. And then they go, right, okay, what is stopping us from taking the kids? Just getting in the way, blocking them, rescuing them. And he's like, okay, number 2. The second individual is actually Summer, who I have some experience with. He's like, I know a bit about this man. He is a briar man because he's eaten the thorn fruit. He can manipulate these vines that have sharp thorns on. Now, the tricky part of this, he says, is that the vines can become transparent. What a broken ability. And he says he's wrapped the children up in these transparent briars. And he says if you were to approach them, they are as tough as nails. And if we get in the way or try and interact with the kids in any way, they will just become pincushions and the briars will just activate. So we can't physically harm or get close to the children without these briars going off. And then he says, right, the last one, on top of all of that, the 3rd individual seems to have the power to conjure nightmares from the children's mind. And he's like, whatever the kids have found scary, whatever they are just dreaming about in this slumber, they have came true, they have come out, and they've escaped the minds. And those are what are just rampaging up there. The dragon, for example. So he's like, look, the kids are just walking in broad daylight, like nothing is stopping them. But there's only thing we can do is go after the people. The 3 Holy Knights, their abilities, this twisted game they've created. The quickest solution is to deal with them, because as we know, more often than not, knocking unconscious or dealing with a devil fruit user, incapacitating them in some way, can potentially remove their ability or at least deactivate it. Rangers can be involved, but we're going to say that at least these 3 individuals are 100% awakened users. They are so proficient in combat, highly skilled with their devil fruit, that they are going to be formidable. And then that is not even the icing on the cake, because as they are planning this and they are doing this, they're like, right, we can do this. As they're about to breach the sun realm, they come up and it is just chaos and inferno, just nightmares everywhere. It is just something to behold. They are looking at these monsters, they are all shocked, and they see the great Eric. They're like, how is that ship already down? It's burning. They're like, yeah, Dory and Broggy, they tried to come and help, the monsters took it down. It's really bad out here. And we see Kashi is actually close by, wounded and like hobbling towards them, and they're like, look, what's going on here? Is everyone alright? Like, tell us, give us the information. And he's like, right, you're gonna have to listen closely to this one. Dory and Broggy are now possessed. They now are in these demonic forms, and they are trying to kill Elder Ja Rule. Nothing is stopping those two. It is crazy. We need to get as many strong warriors as we can to stop them in their tracks, but they are really posing a threat. And then Gerd and everyone are like, right, what about the kids? Where are they at? And he's like, right, Ripley and the others have made their way to try and intercept the kids, but there's not much they can do because of, they seem to be under some sort of spell. However, if we can cut them off before they reach the harbour, maybe we've got a chance. And he turns and he goes, Road, just so you know, Bjorn is one of the kids. And immediately Road just leaves. He is in full pelt sprint, and he's like, my little brother is one of the hostages. And Gerd and Goldberg are like instinctively chase after him. So we've got those three leaving for the kids and going to help Ripley and the others try to save the children immediately. Then we've got like Zorro, Sanji, Chopper, Gabon, Hyruden and Stanza of sort of remaining here, and they're like, right, what else is going on? Well, the school's currently burning down because Sanji's like, the Straw Hat, Nami. He's like, Nami said she was at the school, where's she? And they point over and he's like, that fire in the distance is the school and the library, like, it's bad. So it looks like Sanji and maybe one or two others, I don't know who, are heading for the school here. He's concerned with helping Nami, but we know all the Straw Hats are over there. Zoro's just like, so you say Dory and Broggy have got a bit crazy, right? The two most formidable warriors have kind of gone out of control, you say. So we know where Zoro's going to end up going. And we get this nice battle-drawn map of everyone's current position on Elbaph, specifically along the branch between the school and the sort of West Village where the castle is, and Ja Rule. So they are like off to sort of closer towards the Adam Tree is where this group currently reside. Over on the far end of the branch is the school, and that's like closest to the trunk. It's currently on fire. Your Straw Hats are there, Saul's there. It's bad. Halfway along the branch are the children. So they're about halfway along, and we see at the other end of the branch, right at the end, is where the castle, the West Village, and the ship that the kids are being sort of ferried towards. Ja Rule's in the village. Dory and Broggy are in the forest of the Sun Realm. They're not like, they're sort of kind of like parallel to the branch, but they are also halfway towards the West Village. They are getting closer to Ja Rule. The other giants who are trying to head off the children are slightly behind, but they're looking to try and get ahead and like cut them off. We'll see. I think they will, because it looks like the kids, even though they're having to follow this direction, are at a walking pace. They're not being made to speed up. It's like whatever the pace has been set, they are stuck on that path, so they just have to walk, whereas the rest of the giants can run around and at least try and head them off. So Kashi paints this picture. He's like, yeah, look, it's pretty bad. We see an image of Ripley and Oimo heading for the kids. We see the kids labelled as the hostage group, and we're like, we've got all of them trying to, not be dissuaded or try and carry on through. And then we see like Dory and Broggy in their demonic forms. We see the Straw Hats, and interestingly enough, they're all still wrapped up in these briars, in these arrows, and it looks bad. And then Nami just goes, Brooke seems to have gone though. You're like, I wonder where he is. And Jinbei's like, oh yeah, he must have had something to do. I don't know where he's gone. We know Brooke has a connection to Gunko. It is going to get revealed very soon what exactly their relationship was. But how Brooke has managed to just escape everyone here of the Straw Hats, hopefully that gets shown. Like, how did he get out? Or is he just still bound up and he's just skipped away? We don't know. What we do see is over in the West Village, Yarul is standing his ground. He is like, I've had enough. Dory and Broggy won't listen anymore. I'm not leaving. I will not run away. This is something I'm going to do. And then he clicks a transponder snail, and his voice begins to boom across all of the Sun Realm. And this man is about to deliver one of the most motivational speeches of wartime I've ever read. He is like, people of Elbaph, this is something you are going to hear before I die. Our late King Harold has always believed that Elbaph should come together with the rest of the world and we should join with the world government. But his efforts were destroyed and shunned, and he was betrayed. 14 years ago on the fateful day, I saw it all with my own eyes. He was killed by the act of a demon. He struggled until his last breath. And from falling into those demons' hands, I have held my tongue out of fear that we would cause a rebellion. We would rise up and lead to a war against the world government, something our king never wanted. He's embellishing the story, but it's effective. He says Loki took on the people's anger. He is boorish and foolhardy, but he is innocent. He has always been. And then this is where Zara is like, I get he's got the gist of the story, but he's really putting quite a spin on it. And then Haroon's like, what is he up to here? We get a lovely page spread now of Killingham, Gunko, Summer, all just kind of like menacingly up to something. And he's like, as of today, 3 demons have appeared and are subjugating our nation. I have hoped this matter will be behind us, but we are more in need of your great power. I'm speaking to you now, demons. You can take our culture and our history, but give us our little ones back. Just so you are aware, if you think that this act will crush our spirit, you have made a great mistake. We will show you now. We will not show you the patience that Harold gave you. You speak of subjugating us and picture us as slaves. Who the hell do you think you are dealing with? And he's like, forgive me. He's like rattling off, but he's like, forgive me, little ones. You may want to cover your ears. Usopp is getting absolutely pumped at this point. And he's like, if the Harley prophecies are true, the world is bound to face a great divide one day. So be it. From this day forward, all of Elbaph will stand against the whale government. Did you really think some thorns, illusions, and that little reversey game would be enough to make us bow? And Zoro's like, damn, I like this guy. This guy's pretty good. And Haru's like, well, you do know, like, he was the strongest being to ever hail the seas, like, in his prime, like, 300 years ago. And he's like, oh, shit, damn. So, Yarul is not out of the fight yet. The warriors of Elbaph are just igniting now with this absolute, like, rage and passion. And they are so amped up as Ja Rule just continues to say, we will never submit to your dominion, you know, what you say. We are the proud warriors of Elbaph. Everyone is excited. Usopp is just bawling at this point, like, this is the Elbaph I fell in love with. Nami's kicking him, like, can you deal with the problem of helping us escape first? And he's like, we will do one thing, and we will protect the peace that Harold dreamed of. And everyone's amped. They're all rushing into battle. It's starting. And it looks like Haruden, Stanton, and Zoro have made it to where Dory and Broggy are. And he's like, right, we've caught them up. We're here, but look at them. This is terrifying. Like, how are we even going to get between them? We end the chapter with Zoro saying, don't worry, I've got a plan. We don't have a break next week. Zoro's about to start cooking. I don't know what he's planning here, but as soon as he heard Dory and Broggy, the huge warriors of Elbaph that they are, he heard that they were causing the problem. He's here for a fight. And I think we're about to see Zoro test his mettle against Dory and Broggy. Whether he just takes one and Hyrule stands and take the other, I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see. But let me know what you thought of this chapter. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.